is September, and the Eagles were down probably their best two receivers, not probably, absolutely, best two receivers. Lane Johnson, best player on offense, period. A little disappointing in a lot of ways. I'll get into that. This is a live broadcast, okay? So tomorrow will be way different. I'm going to dig in and give you my reaction to the all 22, but like bouncing around, starting with the Eagles is disappointing because you go on the road and you're going to have to play perfect. You're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have to keep this game in phase. And within like 10, 15 minutes, Baker Mayfield's keeping an option at the 1 yard line on fourth down and running over Reed Blankenship. And the cannons are going off. It's 107 degrees. And that was like kind of the way the game went. It was like every time the Eagles, because they came out of the gate playing like shit, every time they had an opportunity, and, Tampa would leave a little crack in the door, whether it was a third down, whether it was like 4th and goal, whether it was, some mistake that they made and we couldn't take advantage of. Let me stop. I'm saying we because I bet the Eagles. I bet them when I thought A.J. Brown was coming back. I bet them when I thought Lane was coming back. I want to admit something. No, I'm not going to admit it. Late in the game, I was like, I got to hedge. I got to hit the live line. Bucks by 17.5. Didn't win any of them. That's what I get. But like that's the one eyesore on my slate today was the Eagles. I just thought they'd come down and play better. I thought, Bucky Irving was awesome. Don't get me wrong, and he's been a revelation for this group. But when you look at the Bucks, you're like, okay, what have they not done well? They haven't rushed the passer well. They had 2 sacks on the season coming into the game. And they haven't protected well. I mean, they've given up a bunch of sacks. Get a key out. You got Jalen Carter on mock, the lineup or the matchup we wanted. And you never got to take advantage of it because the game was completely out of phase. And because the Bucks dictated matchups. Like, I saw Nolan Smith on Godwin, dude. We don't need to go backwards. That's some shit we would have done last year if you're the Eagles. And so down by the goal line, you got CJ Gardner-Johnson on Mike Evans. They really did. I want to give the Bucks a lot of credit here. They are an ambitious group. They do ambitious things offensively. It's not like Baker Mayfield manages games. And if you're an Eagles fan, you know that because he's managed you out of the playoffs. And this looked a lot like that game. But I do think things can change for the Eagles. They'll get those guys back. You have to live with the reality that your defense is not that good. It's okay. There are going to be matchups that you win every once in a while. Ironically, it turned out to be a really good matchup last week for the Eagles, and they were able to get after the quarterback and take advantage of some of the injuries up front. But like today, they couldn't do it. And so, all in all, if I'm an Eagles, if I'm Jeffrey Lurie, if the Eagles were a college football team, I would stop taking money to go play in Tampa. It's just that simple. This place it's kicked your ass every time you've gone down. I remember in 2018. We got jumped down there. They got jumped in the playoffs. They got jumped in the playoffs again. And although I know the team that took the field today is better than that team last year, this is the result. It's the same result because you didn't play the game to your script. And I think, when you're talking about Jalen Hurts, and I know this is like talking politics, talking about quarterbacks, and I have stayed very quiet. It's not going to be all his fault. There's a lot of guys that took turns in this game. Defense did not come to play in a situation where they should have came to play. But early in this game, you have to hit your opportunities. No one says it's fair to come into Tampa down your best guys. And, no one says it's fair that the defense is like Swiss cheese. But you got to hit the throw to Saquon. Like the extended play early in that game, maybe it was the first drive. There are guys in this league that will make you pay for putting Joe Tryon-Shoyinka in man-to-man coverage with Saquon Barkley. Maybe I saw that wrong in the chat. If I'm misremembering something, point it out. But early in that game, I thought that play in particular and the crosser to Goddard, early downs, first downs, I believe, like they don't seem like big plays in the game, but they're huge plays because to go on the road and win, you have to hit your early opportunities. You cannot end up in that situation. You had to stay in phase in this game. You had to be able to run the football. And when, Saquon gets out in the open field, you're like, of course. But when nobody outside that you've really heard of outside of like Dotson is catching the ball, and they haven't really found that connection yet. Vita Vea and those guys inside are going to do what they came to do, and that's like, we are going to stack this box and make you beat us. And it's just not, it's not the script you can follow for the Eagles. It's that simple, you know. So we can make it a big thing. Let's make it about the Bucs too. I think the quarterback has to play better. It's the second time I've said that this year, and I've been very patient. You know, as an analyst, I have not thrown the guy under the bus. I think that year he had in 2022, although it's looking further and further in the rear view, is the reason you give this guy the benefit of the doubt for a long time. But like games like this, I got to get the guy a Casio endorsement, get a watch, get a clock. You know, as the down goes on, I've talked about this a lot. As the down goes on, that's when bad things happen for him. You know, and sometimes good things, like down the red zone, you know, run pass option kind of deal, fourth down, you know. And by the way, this is the one way Sirianni was going to get people off his back going for it on fourth down, I guess. It was like, you know, giving up 3 scores to start the game, getting 21 in Tampa. It's 107 degrees, man. That had to be hell. But that process was good, but it seems like a lot of times late in this game, you're down 30-16, you know, Saquon does a good job surviving, picking up the blitz for a second, but you got to feel that, you know. And in that situation, I never played quarterback in the league, but I'm tucking and running or something like that. But I'm not going to bake a cake back there. And so, like, yeah, you can say it's not all Jalen's fault. It's not. It's the team's fault. It's the head coach's fault. You know, like, he didn't have his guys ready to play today. All the things that you overcame on the road last week are not sustainable to overcome. You know, I talked about all the things that happened to them in New Orleans. You know, block punt, you know, multiple conversions you couldn't get, turnovers, that sort of thing. You overcome it. You should celebrate overcoming those things, but you don't want to live like that. Like, we want to start living different, man. And, you know, if you're the Eagles, you can't go on the road and do that. You can't go on the road and do that. You know, I what else can you say about it? I'm trying to be fair, but the quarterback can't turn the ball over, you know, and the quarterback can't miss opportunities. If he'd have beat the Bucs, we're all saying that's what a top 5 guy does. That's what Eagles fans and me would be saying. If Jalen Hurts went on the road and beat those guys, we'd be giving him the credit. We can't give him all the blame. The defense deserves a lot of that blame. But another thing is, the defense has been bailing you out a little bit with the red zone. You know, like, they've been very good in the red zone. And that was the one thing today. It was like, if it was going to come down to the Eagles defense in the red zone and the Bucs were going to run like 50 plays in plus territory compared to the Eagles early, like no plays. We didn't know what that side of the field looked like. They had 0 yards in the second quarter. Of course, the defense is eventually going to break on a day where it feels like 107 degrees. And I'm not excusing the fact that they really didn't sniff him. And when they did, 3rd and long and that sort of thing, Baker got out of the pocket and he made things happen. Liam Cohen, Thad Lewis, his quarterback coach who I play with in St. Louis, talked about how his mobility was going to be a big difference this year. And it has been. And so, you know, if you are the Eagles, a game that's defined by, oh, we were so close, like a 3rd and 11, down 2 scores, you know, those games I'm talking about where everything goes wrong, but your team makes you believe that they're still in it. They missed all those opportunities. You know, even running a kickback, you get gifted 2 points at the end of the deal. At the end of the half, you have a chance to go 2 for 1, right? You know what that is? You score before the half, you take the kick out of the half, and you go 2 for 1. They had an opportunity to get another score after that first score. And in that situation, to come back to like execution, it was going to be hard, but there was a way to do it. You know, it's 3rd and 7 or 8 or whatever. They run a simulated pressure, which is basically like, hey, check hot, but it's not. You know, you have a half second if you take a beat. And he went to his hot and they tackle short of the 6, and all of a sudden, instead of 21-10 or whatever it was, 24-10, whatever it was, I think it was 24-10 it would have been had they ended up with a field goal there. If you dig yourself that hole, you have to make some of these opportunities happen, and you didn't. So, and I'm not letting Nick Sirianni off the hook here, okay? Like, I think we all know he's got to be better. Jalen's got to be better. Defense has to be better. Enough said. You get a bye week, the whole thing, okay? Bucs fans, I didn't just come here to complain about the Eagles. You guys are a damn good football team. That's why I picked you to win the South. And when you look at what happened on the other TV, Atlanta and New Orleans, there's no team you can't beat in this division, with regularity. And so I think the Bucs' future is bright, and Bucky Irving coming along is a big one. I can't talk you off the ledge. All right, you want me to talk you off the ledge? I'll be the police officer that pulls up to the bridge. Guys, it's fucking September. It really is. It's September. And I'm not doing this because the Eagles. I mean, we've done this with different teams this year at different junctures. The Jets look like they were the worst team on the planet. The Niners beat them the first week, and you're like, Niners are going to the Super Bowl. The Niners have fallen apart, relatively speaking. Teams can look good, and then now the Jets are losing to the Broncos. The Bucs made the Commanders look like bums, and then 2 weeks later, Jayden Daniels out dueling Joe Burrow, and now look how the Bucs look today again after they got beat by the Broncos. So you just don't know. This is the NFL. My kids haven't picked out fucking Halloween costumes. It's like I told Rich Eisen when he's like, "Are the Bills the best team in the AFC, Chris?" It is September. We're not doing this. But I will tell you this: the Vikings look like the best team in the NFC. And I'm happy to say it because not to tear a rotator cuff here, but I've been telling you about Sam Darnold. I've been warning you. Eagles have a bye week. Hope they get right. Why not run early with Saquon? I'm curious as well. I'm curious as well. Are they that afraid of that big guy with the ponytail in the middle who looks like he's the coolest fucking looking guy I've ever seen. When he sacked Jalen Hurts, he sacked him politely. Like, it was incredible. What a gentleman. He could have put all 400 pounds on Hurts. Hurts does not look as springy as he did a year or two ago. That's one thing. And I know it's hot out there and the whole thing today, but sometimes it looks like he's got the piano on his back, man. And QB run game is something you want to be able to lean on late in these games. So anything else? I'll be sick if the Cowboys break they're not going to break the division curse. Okay, Eagles fans, let's be honest who the person we're afraid of right now is. Okay, it's the Commanders. I don't know what's going on that TV, if they're hanging in there. But I'm just telling you that quarterback is real. He's playing the best ball in the division. I said that quietly on my show the other day. I'll say it loudly now. He's playing the best ball in the division. If you have an issue with that take, you're hanging on to something. The Commanders are one of the horses in this race because the two horses that are supposed to be, Secretariat and fucking Seabiscuit, they look like rented mules, man. So, yeah, the Commanders are in this race. The Giants are not.